What is up, everybody? For this video, I'm going to be discussing ELF Beauty. Stock ticker is ELF. This is the chart, and I will zoom in here in a second and look at to explain exactly what I'm looking at right here and what I will be looking at. But what I will tell you is that what I expect that this week, this stock has a good week and pushes itself up towards this range, towards close to 26. Starters here and then bust past 26. I see it going up to 28-ish, which would be a nice 20% increase. However, if the stock does move lower from its recent days, I'll definitely be looking to sell. Let me zoom in and look a little closer at what I'm looking at. But first of all, here is your COVID tank. You pull right back up to about the COVID levels. Typical rejection, nice strong recovery, looks like good momentum again. And yes, you're going to end up blasting past it. And when you get this blast past, yes, you kind of resettle here for a moment. Kind of collect this area, but it's a strong sign that give it some time and you're going to go well past this level, and you do. You end up coming, well, you do drop quite a bit, come back up to the level, steady it out, and you end up pushing past. So it was showing good momentum, and it capitalized on that momentum. But once that pushed past, a lot of profit taking here, or maybe there were some concerns, but a lot of selling or whatever. Nice little pullback. And then you get your signs for this to be the bottom. I mean, it's at a pretty normal place for it to be the bottom, because this was like a natural support line, because it just busted past this resistance and determined it was worth more than that, and it busted past that. So this, you get this blue candle and red candle, but the point is you get this kind of flat looking spot with one green candle or blue. That's kind of a good sign that it's your bottom. Now when you get this huge green candle, that's pretty strong momentum. And yes, it was followed by a red candle, but you are at this spot of resistance, and you did just come off this massive day. So this is what I'm looking for the week coming up. And this is what you have to stay fluid on how Tuesday goes. But what I would expect is that it pushes higher than this point. There's going to be a repeating theme here that when it pushes higher, I like it. When it pushes lower, I don't like it. And I usually will buy first before it's like, oh, it pushed higher, I like it, I'll jump in. It's just I was already in, and now I'm just like really confident and happier. But there is nothing wrong with jumping in there. You do miss a little bit of the run, but you're also like hardly ever wrong. You're like way more confident. So, and there's still like good run to be had, because when it pushes higher than here, there's a good chance it runs up to here, stutters and goes, and that's still a really good gain. But where I would be looking to sell, basically if tomorrow's like opening lower than where it closed, like it closed like what here at 23.46. So if tomorrow's trading lower than 23.46, I'm selling for sure, because then it's looking more like it's just a complete pullback from this bounce and end up working lower than this point here, or at least testing it. So I'd definitely be looking to sell. I find that pretty unlikely. Just looking at the momentum of the chart, I just find that unlikely that it will be like trading there for a while. If it is just like opens below there, below here, like into this range, and like showing signs that it's going to go higher, then I'll just hold. I won't like just immediately sell, but you know, if it looks like it's just working lower and working into this, working lower down to here, then I will have to sell. That will surprise me though. I definitely expect it with the momentum it's shown through and through. I think this is just kind of a profit taking, or just like a general pullback from a big jump. Just bring it back to these levels that we were just at. But now you get this steady push off of this level because they did determine, the investors that is, that this level wasn't good enough. You came up to this level fast and hard with good momentum, and that's a good sign that it's going to move past when it stutters. And it did, and it retested. I think now you get your push, and I think we'll see good days through the week, and it'll just be steady, boom, boom, boom. You might have some sideways, but I'll definitely be holding this stock, and so long as it, like I say, so long as it doesn't go below 23.46 and like working lower, I will be happy to hold this stock and keep evaluating from there. But that is my plan going into this week of 119, is going to be to own this stock so long that it's moving upward, and I will ride this upward wave for the next week or two for a nice 20% jump and take it from there. I mean, when these happen, if this happens, kind of like the scenario that like you kind of anticipate, then like what I anticipate then is like it doesn't just go straight to 28, of course. It probably, it has a couple down days. It might reject here, a couple down days, couple pullback even, but not major pullbacks. And the pullback should be not super steep or whatever, unless they're like sharp corrections because you've gained so much. That's fine to have a steep pullback, but otherwise, if it's a steady pullback, it'd be sideways, but more sideways. But the point is, when I look for it to eventually get up to this 28, and that's a pretty good sell point in this area, upper 27s, then you look for it to jump back down to around here. Presumably when it gets up to here, it will stutter a little bit, have some days where it's kind of maybe down, maybe like not much, and then it blows past it, just like it did on all these other spots where it came up to resistance and determined, let's go for more. So anyways, if it does that, it'll be like, if it does that here, like stutter down, and then blows past the 28, and then works its way down, that's like a super strong support, and it will catch five support a little bit of ways above that line, maybe around here. So I'll be looking to sell. I mean, I'm always, when I pick these inflection points, then I watch the 1 minute charts and the intraday charts and try to see if I see the trend change at the inflection point on the daily that I was expecting. And that's a nice way to do it. So I sell around up here, and I will be looking to buy again in this range. So that is my game plan for ELF Beauty. Also, if we want to talk fundamentals, I think with everybody being on Zoom calls and stuff, I could see beauty stocks keeping a nice run going. There's so many more people on camera and stuff, but I don't know if, like, long term, I think that's kind of overplayed, probably. But, even if they're overplaying a hype play short term, you may as well capitalize on what they're thinking. So, and I do have these trend lines drawn on this chart. I don't do a ton of trend lines because most of them you just kind of see it obviously in your own mind. But I did want to draw this one because I did think it was just an interesting one. Initially, I wasn't even drawing down to this point. I just wanted to draw these three lines from here, and or like, I guess, like, these two, and they just line up perfectly with this, and it's just one that is nice to look at and make sure that it's gonna hold that all the time. Whenever it breaks this trend line to like the downside and that's like negative, it looks like the trend's changing. It's a nice way to see it, but it's not like, I just don't think it's the easiest and like my first way to see it, because you're gonna see it just on the more common sense, obvious scale of this is what you'll see. If before you see it break down this way and see that the trend's changing, you're going to see that it posted a negative or a lower high somewhere. For example, it comes up here, lower high, boom, boom, boom. That's what one could look like. And then you say, oh, it broke the support trend line, let's sell. Well, you could have sold right here when you saw that it was taking a lower high. As soon as, if this is going up and then you see low, low, well, that ain't really quite right. That's not really quite what you're hoping for. Because it should be doing higher highs on an uptrend. So when you're on an uptrend, and then all of a sudden you see, I mean, that's the trend change that I'm looking for. You go on an uptrend, you see a lower high, that's a big sign. And downtrend, you see a higher low, big sign. So those are the signs I look for, and you'll see that sign before you see it cross the trend line. But it's still nice to have that trend line to look at. And then you've got this trend line here on the resistance trend line, which is also interesting because it busted past it, and it did kind of come back to it, and it is at it, which does kind of contradict what I was saying. Well, if it'll just have to bust past it, and I think it will bust past it because it already did. And because this is more sideways than this, something has to give. You come to this triangle, something has to give, and I think the support line holds. The resistance line, I wouldn't say this is like really that strong of a resistance line. It could certainly be steeper anyways. Like if you change this to get rid of this stupid thing. If you change this and you bring it to match that one, now you have a trend line like this. That's a lot more reasonable. I know you're only like touching that like top one and you're like missing all these points, but you're also a lot more parallel with this line, and you know, a perfect trend line and support line are parallel together, so you actually like sometimes what you can do, you got this line here that I don't know if this line is like perfect either. I mean, it's kind of not actually. Let's kind of fix it. But I'll fix it and then I'll show you what you can do. Because what you can do is when you have your trend line looking good, and then you take your support line and you move it straight over, and then that's like, then you know it's a parallel line because you just moved it straight over. Now, man, this thing's really bugging me, but there we go. Oh, I see. But anyways, that's just something you can do. I mean, they kind of parallel, so if you get like a support line or a resistance line, and then you want to like use that angle, as your other one, you just move it over and see. But anyways, that's all I got for this video. ELF Beauty, like I say, I like buying, I like holding as long as it's working up. And if it's working down, I definitely do not like holding, I like selling. So that's all I got. Give me a like, give me a subscription, so long as you like the content I am providing. I will catch you guys and girls on the next video. Peace.